Well, this one's got its own sound effects. Doesn't like that bit of track there, but I've just looked, it's floating a little bit in the chairs. I think that was some stuff my lad got when I built this. It was an old Hornby train set with a radius 1 curve. That's an old Lima, as you might guess by the sound. She'll find into life eventually. For some reason it don't like that bit of track. Roller's off. Well, this one didn't want to play. I had problems with this before. It used to run nice, but I think the wheels are just worn up on it. But the rear bogie was so stiff it was derailing as soon as it went around the corner. But I think it's from when I had it apart, the little metal block in the middle wasn't quite clipped down. So now it's free running. I've just pushed the body back on top. So I was possibly thinking about converting this with a CD motor and putting a chip in it, but the jury's out. I think it would need new wheels just to improve its running characteristics before you messed about. As you can see, this one doesn't make as much noise with the feedback off of the controller. It does take a bit of winder up to get it going. And then obviously it fails. That was the first diesel I had. A lad who worked with me gave me it in 37. I had a wheel set missing, but I managed to track that down eventually. It was in the days before many websites were online, or they had websites online. Back in the late 90s, early noughties. But he gave me that, I think, and a couple of SAA wagons, 2 or 3 BR coaches, one of which I'm still trying to find a bogie for, in a Mark II bogie set. They're usually as much money as the carriages. But it still seems it might be a little bit of work. It might be redeemable if I get bored one day and decide to do it. Unless a Bachmann one turns up at the right price. You never know. Stranger things have happened. Here's another one I picked up locally on Facebook a few years ago. That's a Hornby 47. In the old Colgate network southeast. It is in very good nick. I don't know whether it was part of a set or not. It never came boxed. It came with some Mark IIs, I think. But there's not a lot of wear on marks on the wheels. But obviously I do have the Bachmann version of this now, London Even Standard, so it is surplus to requirements now. Go on, don't show me up. Run out of diesel. Oh, she ain't happy. We'll make the old girl work yet. Quick clean on the wheels. They're not perfect, but much improved. She does manage to pull this rake round without a wheel spin, which some of them do on that corner. I don't know whether it's a wheel back set issue with some of them, or whether the track's a little bit out. Well, here's another two of the collection. There's a Hornby, what is it, J72 I think? No, J83. I did have the earlier version of that, which I just recently sold to 00 Heaven over in Sunny Honey. He's had a couple of Locos off me. This one I opted on keeping at the minute anyway. As I say, with this being the, I suppose, newer version, it hasn't got the gaping great X04 motor sitting in the cab. So it might be a candidate for a small chip being put in it. And this is a little Lima 09 shunter, which if I had an 08 handy, you can see they definitely modelled a HO variant, not 00. But that being said, it used to run relatively well, but obviously it's been many years. And at the minute we're at about 75% on two of them running on one load, so I don't know what way round they're going to go. It's like winding that up, seeing if they explode. Oh, Lima's off first. Lima 1, Hornby 0. There we go. See if he... Well, he didn't falter at the points. He went straight over them without a flick. See, it's not running too bad for sitting in a damp shed for 5 or 6 years. Typical choppy Lima noise, but the Hornby one's running a little bit smoother. I don't know what current they've got. I should have got an amp meter in line. But we're at full pelt with two of them on, so just wind it back a bit. Need to stretch their legs a little. They've been in storage a long while. The little 09s never used to be very popular, but I think everything is got a demand at the minute. So I think it'll be time to say goodbye and put it towards the railway fund. There's no point in it sitting in a box. They're now starting to wind down as the electronics in the controller slows them down. Let's hit the brake. So as you can see, that's almost pre-weathered condition. That needs a bit of a squirt with the old house cleaner and a brush. Clean the old bodywork up really, but yeah, it seemed to run quite well for, like I say, the amount of storage it's been in. And this one, as you can see, who said you can't get slow speed running on DC? Even if it is a little bit noisy. Again, this one's been sat in the box for quite some time. I've never really given it a good run since buying it. I sort of had a splurge before. I sort of really got hook, line and sinker into DCC and was buying a mix, mostly DC, and a couple of TTS railroad Locos, and I was still predominantly buying the DC stuff, but when you put them side by side, some of the newer stuff does show the old stuff up a bit. As you can see, that's running fairly well. It hasn't faulted yet, but the Lima obviously needs a little bit more ampage. But the old J83 is showing it up now. Let's give it a bit more chance. Don't think I've got any detail pack with that one. It's a nice nick though. But then I bought that before prices were getting a bit silly. This one just sound that's making you don't need a TTS chip in it. Shut the controller off completely, it's just running on inertia now. I'll hit the brake. We'll discharge the voltage out of the circuit then. Flip reverse, wind the regulator back up again. As is usual, there. Usually where it finds a dead spot. And we'll hit the brake again and call that test done.